Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be attempting my second doll hair reroot. So I did my first hair reroot about a year ago and I made it look alright on camera, but in all honesty, it was just a really big mess. I used some really cheap and curly red hair that I just found, and it was honestly a really bad tangled mess. Right now, the doll is currently almost bald again because so much of the hair has fallen out and become such a matted mess that I've had to cut it. But hopefully, my second attempt will end much better. For the hair reroot, I'm going to be doing it on this doll here. So this is just a spare head I have, and I actually have several of this one, just because I do body swaps, then I just need the made to move body, so I thought it would be great to experiment with this head. I'm not really worried if anything goes wrong, because I literally have like a million of this doll head here, from made to move matches and stuff like that, so no biggie if it turns out terrible. I'm going to be using this Marigold Market doll hair that I got at Hobby Lobby for around $3. Again, this is not like the real expensive kind from, say, the Doll Planet or anything like that, because I don't think I'm quite ready to use something that expensive. So this is the same brand as the red curly hair, but I'm hoping that because it's straight, it won't be as much of a mess. And yes, I'm quite aware that this is pretty much the same color of the hair the doll already has, but this is more for experimental purposes, so I really don't care, and I think it'd be cool to see this doll with a longer version of her hair. Aside from a doll head and some hair, I'm also going to be needing a rerooting tool. Again, I didn't buy one, and because I'm new at this, I'm gonna attempt to actually make one. For the first step, I'm going to get myself my X-Acto knife and remove the blade. Now I'm going to pick myself a needle, then place it inside of my X-Acto knife. Once that step has been completed, I'm going to very carefully trim off the end of the needle here. As you can see, this is what my rerooting tool is going to look like. I should be able to place a strand of hair in between the 2 points, then poke it into the doll's head. The next step on the doll hair reroot is to remove all of the doll's original hair. I am a little sad to cut off this doll's beautiful hair, but hopefully the new hair will look even better. I'm gonna start by removing as much hair as I can with a pair of scissors. Once I've cut off as much of the doll's hair as I can with scissors, I'm gonna need to get inside her head to remove the rest. So I'm just gonna get a small object, like this pencil here, to poke around inside her head so I can loosen those hair plugs. You can also use the tip of a pair of scissors, and this seems to work a lot better than the pencil was. We're back, and the doll is pretty much bald. Now all I have to do is get a pair of needle nose pliers and remove all of the hair that I've loosened. And now I am finished with the hair removal process. We got all of it out, so she is completely ready for the reroot to begin. All of this was actually inside of her hair, and it was glued in there, but we were able to remove it with the needle nose pliers. The next step is usually to repaint the doll's scalp the color that her hair is going to be, but because it's already this color, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. Also, I think that this is kind of a factory defect that the paint doesn't cover the side of her head here and that it's lopsided, but there's nothing I can really do about that, so we're just gonna leave it. Time to get rid of the old hair and get ready for the new. I bought 2 things of the hair because I wasn't actually sure how much I'm going to need, so I might end up just using 1 package instead of 2. Here we have it. It's pretty shiny and slick, which I hope makes it easier than, say, the red curly hair I used last time. But I think it's gonna look pretty good on the doll. It is pretty much the same color as her old, just a little bit longer and a little more brown than reddish. I'm going to start rerooting the doll's hair by filling in the area all around her head, then I'm going to fill in the rest. So I'm going to get myself a really small strand of hair here. I want to make sure that it is pretty thin because I'm only going to need a little bit of hair to fit in the holes around the edge of her head. Now I'm going to place the center of my strand of hair right on top of the hole I want it to go in. I get my rerooting tool and poke the small strand of hair inside. I pretty much just repeat this step over and over again until I filled in all of her hair. I will admit it's pretty time consuming and you have to have a lot of patience, but other than that, it's a pretty simple thing to do once you get the hang of it. But to be perfectly honest, I don't think I'm doing this step exactly right, and I don't think my rerooting tool is exactly like it should be, so maybe check if you guys want to try this. I would definitely suggest checking out Everything Dolls. She has a lot of great videos on hair reroots, and that's actually where I kind of learned how to do them in the first place. It's a very slow and steady process, but this is really the only way out there to change your doll's hair into what you want it to be like. I think hair reroots are a great way to customize your dolls and learn how to be a little more creative with them. Of course, this is only my second time ever doing this, so what do I know? So, real quick note, midway through when I was doing this hair reroot, I kind of changed it up. I didn't really like how my needle was doing, so I just kind of cut off all of it, and now I just have the sharp end, and I'm just using that to poke the hair inside of her head, which that's not how you're supposed to do it, but it's kind of working, so that's what I'm gonna keep doing. So the reroot is coming along pretty nicely. I'm about halfway done covering all of the hair around her head. I'm just gonna keep up the slow and steady process of poking all of this hair into her head. Once I finish rerooting all the way around the edge of the doll's hair, I'm gonna go ahead and move into the middle center here. Again, it's just the same process, and by now I know for a fact that I'm not doing this correctly because I'm literally placing the hair over the hole, then stabbing it in there until it stays, which I'll just warn you, it's working, but it's not how it's supposed to go. Okay, so now we have successfully finished rerooting the doll's hair. Her hair is currently a bit of a mess, but luckily we only have a few steps left to do before we're finished. There are a few bald spots in her hair, but her head came this way and there's nothing I can really do unless I want to poke some new holes in her head, but I don't really want to. To make sure that her hair will stay in place and won't fall out, I'm actually going to need to glue it inside of her head. So the only glue I have on hand that might actually work is just some Elmer's school glue, and so you're probably not technically supposed to do this, but I'm gonna use it anyways because Elmer's glue, it actually holds up a lot better than you would think, and it's kind of the only glue I have. So basically, I'm just gonna pour some glue inside of her head, then let it dry. Once that step has been completed, the next thing I'm gonna do is give her a body. So here is just a spare Barbie doll body that I have on hand. It's kind of damaged up here around the neck, and the peg isn't actually as secure as it could be, but it's all I currently have, and it is the right skin tone for this doll. Now that our girl has a body, it's time to do something with this matted tangle mess of her hair. First, I'm just gonna go ahead and brush it right out and maybe get rid of some of those tangles. If you're doing this step, make sure that your glue is completely dry or a lot of hair is just gonna come right out. So I want my doll to have long hair, so I'm probably gonna cut off close to half of it because I think that'll be a pretty good length. I'm just going to be using some basic but sharp crafting scissors to very carefully trim off the end of her hair. Here's the doll with her hair trimmed. It isn't exactly even, so I'm probably gonna go back and fix that up, but I think it looks pretty nice. I think that this hair reroot was really good practice for me, and it already went so much better than my first one did. Hopefully with a little more practice, I'll be even better at doing it. So this doll didn't actually have a part line in her hair, and I might have been able to make one if I tried, but I didn't want to mess anything up, so I didn't. Thank you all so much for watching me today as I attempted my second ever doll hair reroot. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, plus also turn on that notification bell. The shoutout for today goes to Foxy Dolls. And remember, if you would like a shoutout in my next video, all you have to do is comment a purple heart emoji down below.